But they're not saying no white. They're saying more other than white.
Doesn't matter. Thus you must discriminate.
The big thing over the last couple of years that's taken over our institutions, of course, is DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, which, as you know, should be DIE, because that's really what they want most of us to do. We had a fundamental difference of agreement on that as well, Cuomo and I, and I think I maybe got him a little bit here to change his mind, perhaps. You decide.
The very fine people on both sides thing. Do you think that's legit or not?
I think you guys are 100% giving him a pass. In a way that you would never give one on the other side.
He said very fine people on both sides, except then literally the next sentence was, I am not talking about the white supremacists or the neo-Nazis. He was talking about the people who debate whether we should have these statues or not. And of course there are very fine people on both sides of that.
And then they keep asking him about what he's meaning, and he won't qualify it.
No, because
it didn't happen for 2 days.
No, but he's learned that you do not give the media an inch.
It's like the motions with the guy. And he always does that about everybody. And they search for three weeks to find a couple of motions of him like this. You know he was mocking the guy. No. Why protect him from these things?
Well, I'm not protecting him from that. Again, I don't defend Trump on all of the crazy
And you know how
statements.
he has been with racists and alt-right people. He has been very hands-off and very delicate in his treatment of them.
But I would say Joe Biden is far more in bed with racists than Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib.
Oh, you mean racists?
But those are the real racists we have to worry about. Those are the racists who are ruining this city. Those are the racists who are taking over our institutions. Those are the racists that are going to make it.
Why isn't it the same as saying, you worry about Omar, the people worry about Matt Gaetz? Neither of them have any real power.
Well, she was on the Foreign Intelligence Committee. I mean, they kicked her off now, but I mean, she has a huge amount of power. I mean, look what she's amassed in Minnesota. The policies that they are trying to put forward to the country, you may not like their tactics and you may question their motives or whatever, but they are not trying to put in policies that would actually systemically put racism back into the country. The left and DEI and all of that, they are. That is
but DEI, the point of DEI, you can talk about its execution, you can talk about degree and duration, but the whole point was to stop minorities from being excluded from places and institutions that matter in American advancement. That was the point.
I'm not sure that's what the point was. I think that would be a sort of, pardon the way I'm going to say this, I would say that would be a slightly naive way of looking at it. I think that these people that are pushing this stuff are way more nefarious maybe than you think.
What do you think they want?
I think they actually want to upend all of the meritocracy that America has been built on. I think they would gladly shred all of our founding documents. I think that's very clear. Listen to what they're saying at these campus protests. They're starting with Israel, but the United States is the big fish. I 100% know that Chris Cuomo as a father, 4 years from now when your son is out of college and he goes to get a job on Wall Street or if he wants to be a doctor or whatever, does not want him to be discriminated on by the basis of the color of his skin, nor how much money and how famous his dad is and everything else. And that is what they literally have systemically put into the country. Supreme Court just reversed affirmative action as it pertains to college admissions, which was absolutely right. You don't solve past discrimination by discriminating against Asians of today, right? You don't do that.
In your opinion, they would say that, no, we are just trying to make sure this group isn't discriminated against anymore. Not that you are.
But I don't think it's an opinion to say that well, I suppose it's an opinion at some level, but I think it's an empirical truth that discrimination based on immutable characteristics is bad.
But they're not saying no white. They're saying more other than white.
Doesn't matter. Thus you must discriminate.
Okay, so I think you saw how hard I was trying not to go after him personally or impugn his motives or anything else. But you could also see that when you make a clear and cogent argument to somebody and then make it personal too. That's why I brought up his son. He had brought up his son earlier, said his son was just graduating high school, going to college. When I made it about the discrimination that his son will face because his son is growing up rich, his dad is, was a TV star, but certainly influential. His grandfather was the governor. His uncle was the governor of New York. That the system, the DEI system that he basically thinks is okay, is going to discriminate against his own child. And I think that started breaking him up. Also, a bit of his argument was the best of intentions. Well, the intentions are we want to solve some of this stuff. But the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Stay right there, people, because the only one of its kind, this prescription Contagion Emergency Kit from the Wellness Company, provides you with a carefully selected assortment of effective medications for bird flu, COVID-19, and other respiratory illnesses. Ivermectin, HCQ, Z-Pak, Tamiflu, and budesonide, along with a nebulizer. So you can rest easy knowing that you have emergency meds on hand, along with a guidebook for safe use. Backed by research from experts like Dr. Peter McCullough, the Wellness Company's Contagion Emergency Kit is a must-have. Order today at twc.health/Rubin. Code Rubin saves you 15% at checkout with the Wellness Company.